guys around here? Okay, one.
We have it.
So I'll be speaking for you today in English because
it's okay. I don't take pictures. It's okay for me.
Okay, that's
No,
great.
basically I asked Anton to conduct this presentation in English because I'm making record, and this record gonna be placed on YouTube in my channel. So we're going global next year.
Okay, guys. I will give a talk about the BigPicture. It's a plugin for JIRA. I believe I don't have to ask about whether you know what is JIRA, right? We can go further. Yes?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Well, it's me. I've had pretty different experience in working as in development, testing, sales, marketing, project management, so all that kind of stuff. And well, I was working as for this pretty local companies as well, for like corporate like Microsoft. So well, I have seen a lot of different projects, and as small one and the scaled ones, they all had pretty much similar problems regarding its management as a whole. I mean, not only project task management, but more like resource management, budget management, all these things incorporated. And so I will talk today about this solution which may have to solve this issue for the management level, for the top management level. And so how to use all this JIRA dinosaur in your handy reports, and so you can analyze it and generate some well, strategies how to handle some situations. I will talk a bit about the BigPicture itself, what kind of features it has, and well, I will try to map it onto some kind of use cases, so you can even try to figure out maybe it will work somehow for you. I hope so. So just a few words about the developer of this plugin. It is a company named Software Plant, and well, it is a Platinum top vendor at Atlassian. So it is a platform partner for safe scaled agile framework. I think that some of you guys are interested in this thing, so I will cover it as well. Just for the beginning, BigPicture supports safe. So yeah, we will talk a bit about this later. So yeah, just as an intro, I would like just a bit to know how you handle a lot of projects. I mean, if you have JIRA with a lot of tasks, and how do you make decisions on top level what to do with the projects? Just basic stuff. Can you name it? Anyone? Well, okay, no problem.
We make releases.
Okay, so yeah, release-based management, yeah? Great. So do you have difficulties with managing it, like as it is? Okay, great. So we'll have a bit to talk.
Great, but we have difficulties.
Okay, thank you so much. So, well, what the JIRA basically is about? It is about the projects and tasks. So basically, what are you doing? You create your project, you manage your tasks there, you have some functionality to manage boards, and to make some transitions between these dependencies of tasks, but well, not as much. And when it comes to the situation when you have like hundreds of projects, or you have business programs, and your resources of your company are allocated around the programs, which has its own goals, and well, these programs may contain several projects in it, and well, you have to manage it all around with all these tasks involved. So what you're gonna do with JIRA itself? At its basic setup, you can make some, traditional reports on your dashboards, like pie charts or some sort of it. But it's not really handy in terms of decision making. And so, what can we do with the BigPicture? It is most important component, and what makes it really useful. It is the thing that you can create any kinds of levels of the project aggregation, of your whole business. What do I mean? I mean, if you have 3 projects, you can combine it into portfolio. It is a common stuff. If you have 10 projects, you may have several business programs, which has its own goals, but divided into pretty much different projects. You have to manage the resources around this project. But what if you have even more complex structure, and you have to manage these programs over more high-level programs? And well, JIRA doesn't give you any possibility to get some aggregated data and make some planning, make some reporting over this, complex stuff. So whatever you use in Agile, Waterfall, well, whatever model you use, the best thing to do is to combine it in a sort of the way where you can produce results which will be handy for you every day. From the smallest subtask to the highest level aggregation of the program, you can always get a cut of the data, of the situation, of the risks and other stuff around this project. This is what BigPicture is mostly about. But well, it has some additional products as well. So software plant has BigPicture at the whole, but it has BigEnd as a separate project, which can be also a standalone. So if you need it. And well, Big Template is also a useful thing if you want to use templating of the documents linked to the projects and linked to the tasks. Wherever you want to store it, it's also useful. But well, today we'll not talk about it because it's not enough time for that. So well, portfolio overview. It is the main component, as I said. It has some flexible portfolio management with the hierarchy. So whatever hierarchy you want to build, BigPicture is for you at this moment. You can build any kinds of scenarios and metrics over it. So you may track the progress of your projects, which are not dictated by the software you use, rather by the business processes and business goals you want to achieve. So here's what it looks like. Inside it's a set of the business programs with portfolio at the top, as you see, but you can name it just as you want it to name. You can aggregate it in any kind of complexity. So you have a portfolio full of programs, and each program is full of projects. Projects may be full of iterations, which are also separate projects. So whatever structure you use in your company, and you believe it is an effective way to manage it, you are free to build exactly the same structure inside your software. So the software helps you to manage, rather than you trying to help software to manage your company. Well, at the basics, you have a board to manage all this portfolio. You're gonna use it for any projects. You can even sort it by any kind of stuff you want. It's not really useful for the companies which has like 3 to 4 projects in it, but if we're talking about hundreds, this is the thing you want to use daily. So Gantt. Gantt is a central element of the project portfolio management here in BigPicture. Because it is pretty useful if you want to combine some hybrid approaches. For example, if you use hierarchical and waterfall methods to manage a business program, but inside all your projects are Agile based. So whatever you want to combine inside, this BigPicture again gives you an ability to do it and to see how it works all together on the top level management perspective. So you can even build baselines and critical paths. It's more about features, but if we're talking about problems you want to solve, it is an easy way to get any information about what is happening inside, if things are major or things are just simple. You always have to deal with kind of risks And well, you can even map your tasks on risk. We'll talk about it as well. This is just an example how Gantt looks. So the aggregation has a set of the projects, or well, a set of entities you want to manage in it. Because as I said, you have any kind of hierarchy you can build inside. So here you can have several projects. You can pin any kind of statistics you want to look at. So you can easily manage your projects by the type of any tracking things you want to track on this project. Different managers use different KPIs, different metrics to get to know how to deal with any kind of issues appearing during the project life cycle. You can use anything. Here's the time tracking, for example. But you can use any other things, like, for example, the percentage of the tasks completed, or your workload on the project if you mostly refer to the management of resources if you're a resource manager. So whatever you need to manage inside of your whole organization, you can map it using the BigPicture. Well, it doesn't ideal. It's not ideal. I'm not talking about some huge, complicated economical stuff or lawyer stuff. You can't manage it with it. But if you're talking about projects, here you are. Well, here's what I was talking about. BigPicture inside has Gantt, scope, resources, risk management, and so some agile stuff like roadmap. You can in multiple teams. You can divide your whole life cycle into cadences and program increments. You probably use it. So it's all stuck inside one framework, I would say. And of course, you can plan your sprints ahead with the use of this plugin alone. While waterfall, agile, it's all about JIRA as well. So it's all integrated. What's about the waterfall Gantt? You can display some issues. All these are just bathing things. You can work breakdown structure, and well, you can schedule any tasks to start or to be finished. And what I would say the most interesting thing about BigPicture Gantt is that you can change the state and properties of your tasks in JIRA right from your Gantt. I mean, it's just a kind of drag and drop tool. You can move your task through this plane, and while you're changing the position, you will change the dates inside of your JIRA tasks. So you can even make some adjustments onto your project planning with your tasks through this plugin instead of changing your dates inside of each task in JIRA created. So whatever you want to manage, and for example, you see you're up to deadlines, but you need more time, you need some replanning, so you need to quick fix. You can move these tasks onto this, onto any place you want, and based on the rules and filters defined by you, it will change the whole project timeline as well. So while you probably know what is tempo, and it has some features for managing time tracking, for managing tasks, and it is not reflected onto the JIRA itself. But BigPicture has a different approach. If you change something in BigPicture, you may expect it is to be changed in JIRA inside. So it is useful if you see that for some reason in your business program, one of your projects stuck for, well, some business issue you can't handle at the moment. But, well, all your project plans will just burn down because, well, you can just handle it. So what you're gonna do, you can even move all the critical task projects further to ensure that you prepared some time for it to be done, while you wait for other issues in your separate project to be completed. Well, it's more like about designing your project plan rather than to change some dates inside of tasks. Well, scope is just a handy tool to see all the tasks you have and what to do with it. All the statuses, responsible person. If you need quickly to figure out who's responsible for what thing inside of the several projects, and you have cross-project teams, you have different specialties for these guys. You can even have some different priorities and different level of tasks in it. You just have to understand what's happening, what's triggering the change for the whole business program timeline. You can go inside this scope and just see what happens. If you need to make any change to this particular tasks, maybe redefine the guy who will do it, or you wanna change timeline, you wanna change anything, you can do it right from this screen to get into this task. Resources. This tool also has an ability to manage your resources. Well, but while I'm saying resources, I mostly mean resources in terms of the hours, working hours of your guys, as a summary. So we'll not talk about budgets here, it's not available, but if you understand your resources and you can use your resources as amount of stuff you have with the summarized amount of hours, working hours they have, you can use this resources tool to manage this across the several projects, several programs, and as I said, whatever aggregation you need. So, okay, I'll speed up a bit. What can you do? You can easily track the amount of workload on each project inside any business program or any portfolio you have in your organization. Whether you see any problems inside, you can easily manage it and track the teams who are involved in developing these projects, while they of course have a lot of workload on different business programs. So this is a handy tool how to figure out what is happening with your staff, how to make them happy and not to be overloaded 16 hours per day. Resources allocation, it is, as I said, just you can adjust the capacity of the resource, you can manage the teams as internal teams created by BigPicture, as well as external teams managed by Tempo teams. If you know what Tempo teams is, you probably know. But if not, it is a pretty large instrument to manage all the specific aspects of the teams. So it's rather even more interesting to build the team inside of Tempo and manage team inside of Tempo, but to manage the workload of this team inside of BigPicture. And BigPicture has two-way integration with Tempo, so it may work good for you if you have a lot of resources and each team is pretty specific on what they're doing, and you have pretty different competences of the guys. You can list all the competences here, and you can even manage the workload of by the competence. For example, you have the total amount of working hours for developers, for project managers, for testers, but you can even more add here some economists, some lawyers, anyone you need. And you can allocate these resources here as well. So here what it looks, I'll not stop on it. If it's red, it is bad. If it's green, it is good. So
Zero is good.
like these are just hardworking guys, as you see, but they are probably not happy with what is going on with them. So you'd rather want to be a guys like this guy who has green lines here. So you ensure that if you have 0 working hours left, then this guy has perfect time workload. So it has its 8 hours and bye-bye, go home. This is good for the resource managers, for HRs, how to track whether their project managers are not overloading them. So you have all the statistics and you have all the plans ahead just inside one plugin. And based on which roles of managers and different specialties you want to include into these projects of planning, you can do it here. So, well, here's how it may look in terms of people. You can track any guy's workload as well as the team workload as a whole. If you want to plan some huge releases, or you want to have track some huge PIs, anything you want, you can allocate the whole teams onto different projects and see the whole workload. I would even add that, well, each team has its own workload and has its own workload plans. A lot of JIRA plugins allow this option to manage workload plans. So you can specify that Saturday and Sunday are holidays, while other days are working. And well, each working day should be 8 hours. And you can assign each guy to this plan, so it has the ordinary way. But whatever vacation they have, you can make additions to this workload plans, so you can easily track whether these guys are in particular team are available for resource allocation, whether others are not. This is what it was about, and now board. Board is a kind of thing where you can plan your work and assign your tasks of any kind of level to your teams. At its glance, it looks like this. You have product increments, if we're talking about Agile, and so you can easily see teams, you can see PIs for your program or project or whatever aggregation you choose, and you have a lot of tasks on the right which are in backlog. So you simply put your tasks to the team and it is assigned. It is a good way to get a brief plan out of some meetings after your meeting now. So, and you can manage a lot of things on the board. We may talk about it if you wanna. Additional Agile thing, the roadmap. Agile road mapping is how to specify objective of your teams at multiple levels in its iterations. So it's a good thing to tracking and reports of what is going on inside your projects. As you see, you have PIs, you have iterations inside of PIs. You can set some objectives for your teams to perform over this range. So basically what you do is you plan your iterations based on it. A handy slide from Software Plant, how it looks like. It's all about the aggregation of the project, so you see the whole picture. What is going on in different product increments, in different teams, if it's really complicated thing. And reports, it's an interesting thing. When we were in Software Plant in September, we faced with this functionality which was not available at that moment. And what the guys do, they perform hackathons in their company, each, I believe, several weeks or even months, and they built some competitive additions to their main product. And the best ones may come into release. And this is what these guys did. They just hackathons a report page of how to use it for top-level management decision making. And it looks pretty interesting because the basic looks like a dashboard, while the functionally each diagram is functional, because you can tap on any functional element of it, and you're inside of the other metrics which formed the metric you're looking at now. So you have a hierarchical level of reports you can dive into and see what caused some major changes you are not happy with, for example. Risks. Risks is pretty much easy functionality in BigPicture. What it gives you? It's just is a tool to assign your tasks to some probability and consequence levels. Well, you probably mostly, if you do some risk management and risk planning, you mostly assign the probability and consequence based on some assumptions you do. In BigPicture, it's just a bit different. Here you assign it to the task. So at first you define your goal, your objectives, then you define some tasks in JIRA. How will you perform to achieve these objectives? And now you think, okay, at this point we may fail for some reason. I should take it into account. So you put it on this map, on this board, and this is how you manage it. You see statuses, you see level of items, you have on the board level of tasks, and so what you can do, you can see who is responsible for which risky moments. And to be safe, you can even assign different guys, more senior guys, to manage more risky tasks you have in a project. It may not really have any kind of integration with other functionality in the plugin, but at a glance it may give you a great view of how to manage the things based on the tasks, mostly. So here's how it looks just again. You can either create new issue in JIRA right from this screen, or you can use your existing JIRA issues and just point it on the map. This is what it does. BigPicture Enterprise, I would just step up a bit to explain that BigPicture has its basic version and enterprise version. The basic version has just cuts on what you can do with it. For example, you're limited on building this huge hierarchical structure of projects and programs, etc. In its basic version, you can only manage one level on top of the projects. So you know that JIRA has project as a top level item. This BigPicture gives you portfolio as one step further. But if you use enterprise, you may use any kind of level of this tool available. And so metrics also included in enterprise only, and cross-program view, which is most important, I believe, for the huge companies to manage it, is unfortunately only in the enterprise version. However, you can, I believe, use it for free just to test and see how it works. Maybe it will be useful for your case especially. And as I said, it has a tempo integration in terms of workload plans and in terms of teams, as I said previously. So it's not merging any objects. It's just taking information from tempo to BigPicture so you can operate it as it is. Just a use case, as software plan says, they managed, Game Love company for developing the video games and building all these business processes and management of the most huge games involved in the development process. So whatever you have the tasks inside, and you have pretty much hundreds of projects inside of the game, you have to manage it complexly. This is what this BigPicture do for them. And as I know so far, no company around the market does not provide any kind of analog of functionality which gives you BigPicture. So this is what pretty much unique here. Well, just few companies who are using BigPicture as well, just for you to know. Maybe you may even ask them how they use it if you have some contacts. And well, there are my contacts. So unfortunately, I'm running out of time. So as you see, the project is pretty huge, and there is a lot of stuff to talk in it. There are a lot of interesting and tricky features for any kind of functionality I just talked about. Well, basically, to understand how it works, you need several days. But as we have half an hour, just try to map your issues onto the abilities of this plugin, and we'll see what happens.